Welcome to Spotlight New England. I'm one of your co-hosts, Audra McClelland.
And I'm Ashley Erling.
I love our intro. I mean, I think it's so cute. You know,
It is.
Coming back off a weekend, I'm like, oh, I haven't heard it all week. I mean, the little jingle, I love it.
It is. I have no idea where it came from.
It's great.
And I love it.
We didn't make it. It's awesome.
No, we didn't
had
make
the professionals here make it, but I love it.
It's so cute. And it's I feel like it's finally starting to feel like New England summer.
It is.
And I feel like
like
that is
summer.
what that like opening is.
That whole
it
vibe.
makes you kind of like want to like go outside,
You wanna go outside.
or like drive around.
Yes, I love it.
Which we both did a lot of this weekend.
We both did a lot this weekend. I know that you were obviously, I know Ashley does out every Saturday morning over at WPRI 12. She is out and about finding like the fun, like just what would you call it? Like some highlights that are going on over the weekend.
The segment's called What's Happening.
Yep.
And it literally is what's happening.
What's happening.
So usually it's an event that's going on or an attraction or like something you can see or do. So every weekend I'm somewhere different. But this weekend I was at Atlantis Rising, which is the sand sculpture competition down in South County, which they've had now for 3 years. This year they moved it
it's
to
the third year.
Yep, they moved it to Ninnegrit Park.
That's right.
So it's no longer at Musquamaket because there's more parking down at Ninnegrit Park. And I have to tell you, you know how when you woke up Saturday morning, I don't know how this was for you, pouring at my house.
Yes.
By the time I got there, the sun came out. It was beautiful. And you have to look at how intricate. And these are not like people who play around with this. This is what they do.
This is what they do.
They're international sand sculptors, obviously, from all over.
Yeah.
And there's 10 of them, and they compete. But the intricacy of their
my
designs
goodness, look
are
at that.
incredible. And this is video while they were still doing it. So it wasn't even completely done yet.
Wow.
But super cool to see. Always a really fun family event. And it's been, only 3 years that it's been going on, but it's already become like very much like
Look at
a
the
fan
detail,
favorite
Ashley. You're
event.
so right, huh?
When you see it in person, I couldn't.
Are they gigantic? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
They're huge. They're like.
She does it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, they are. They're
Yeah.
really, really big, and they spend like 2 days working on it. And
It's
they're
so cool.
protected from the elements, but really cool. But you also had an just as cool event, and one
was
that
fun.
I love to go to too.
So Special Olympics Rhode Island, they had their games this weekend at URI. So WPRI 12 is the media sponsor. So we had a team go and volunteer and just meeting the athletes, meeting the families. Here's some of the footage from over the weekend. And like you said too, it was kind of rainy, but I have to say
Did it clear up?
It did clear up,
Yeah.
but it was funny. I was talking to one of the athletes that was in the soccer team, and they were like, "Oh, it was awesome. It was wet. We were slipping and sliding." So they loved the fact that it was really just like
had
they're there to have fun.
with it. And
They
I
really
know
are.
you and Brendan were both there.
Yes.
With some of our other coworkers, and I could see from the pictures just like how much fun we were all having, how much the athletes enjoyed having people there to support them and cheer them on, because this is, a huge, huge event, not only for the athletes, but, their families, everyone at Special Olympics, and, even the people down at URI, like you said, a lot of their athletes.
It really was so cool seeing everybody come together, and just like the families, you have the athletes that are coming up, they were playing the games at the booth, but it was like the parents and the siblings and the aunts and uncles and just like fans that have come with the families that really just are so excited. Some of the parents are just like moved to tears talking about how much their children look forward to this event.
Yeah.
And, listen, I mean, as a mother myself, it really does put things into such perspective, to have these other parents talking about how proud they are of their children, and just see the smiles from ear to ear all weekend. And Ed, who obviously is the CEO of Special Olympics, Ed Pacheco, he's like a rock star walking around.
Is he? Is that what it's like?
I mean, he is like, I just started with the team when he started with Special Olympics.
Right, which was only about, a couple years ago?
Ago. So I really only know the Special Olympics with Ed, to be honest with you. But he is just so kind, gives everybody attention, and it's just unbelievable. So yes, it was a great weekend.
So much fun. So much fun. Yeah.
So, but we have an unbelievable show for you today. We have one of our favorite authors that's going to be chit-chatting with us in a little bit. We've loved having her on the road show. She's going to be here with us, and we are just excited to have her. So make sure you stick around. Spotlight New England. This is a true treat for us. We love reading. Both Ashley and I just are such book lovers. So being able to interview authors is one of our favorite things to do. And we have with us this morning one of our favorites, Vanessa Lillie, who is just a tremendous person in general, but also such a talented author. And you not only obviously are a tremendous author, but you do other things for authors, which I think just speaks volumes as well. You know, you are our USA Today bestselling author. And we just love always having you here. So Vanessa, thanks so much for being with us today over on our little Spotlight New England show.
This is so cool, you guys.
Thank you.
It's like I get to just kind of hang out and
Yes.
chat. I love this.
That's why we're liking this, because it's a little more casual of a feel. Like we're just chatting.
Yeah.
It's not quite as intense as when you're in the other studio with all the cameras in your face. So it's been fun to kind of just like hang out with our friends.
It is just like hanging out a bit, right? I love it.
Yeah.
It really is very cool. But Vanessa, I have to like just kind of kick it off with this, because I know when we have had authors on, or we've chit-chatted with them before in the past, even on the road show, there's a beginning of a beginning to every story. So how did you get into really writing in the first place? Was it always something that you knew you wanted to do?
When I was little, I loved creative writing. And then I think life just kind of got in the way.
Yeah.
And I found myself, it was my early 20s, and I was living in DC at the time. And everything on paper was great. I actually was with a guy who I'd end up marrying.
That's good.
Yeah, I know, that worked out. I had a cool job in DC in education policy, but there was this sort of longing I had for something more. And I was actually at an airport bookstore, and I walked past this shelf of books, and I saw one, and I just had this feeling of like, oh my God, I want to do that. And so once I realized it, it's just this to return to creativity and to sort of have a big, audacious goal. Like it was scary to think, you want to do that? But then I jumped in, and there's that Malcolm Gladwell quote, it takes 10,000 hours to get good at something. I probably needed 15,000. But, I jumped in. And it actually wasn't really until I honestly moved to Rhode Island from DC that I found a place and a setting that inspired me. And so my debut novel, Little Voices, it published in 2019. I mean, it's all set here. And I really think Rhode Island was my muse.
Wow.
I have no idea what my career would look like if I lived in a different place. And so by the time I said, you know what, like from the moment of the airport bookstore to when I actually was published, that was about 13 years.
Wow,
No way.
that's incredible. Take us a little bit through that process of kind of, getting a book going and writing that first book and kind of figuring it out, because I feel like a lot of people might be able to relate to a journey like that.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people have at least one book in them. And I think the number one thing is to just write something that you love being in that world. And write the kinds of books that you want to read. So for me, I actually wrote 2 books that didn't go anywhere, which is pretty normal. And then I was like, well, what do I love to read? And it was thrillers. And I was like, why aren't I writing a book that is a world that I would read on my own?
Yeah.
And so when I started to sit down and really think about what kind of book do I want to read, and let me make it for the shelf.
Right.
That's when it started to really click for me. And at the time I was a new mom, had my baby son strapped to my chest, walking up and down Blackstone Boulevard, east side of Providence. My baby would not sleep unless he was on me.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I had to walk every day. I just walked.
Yeah.
While I was walking, I started thinking of a mystery novel that started in Swamp Point Cemetery. It was a new mom.
Yes.
Trying to solve a murder. So it was through putting myself into a story where I could see myself like as a new mom. Because at the time, especially, I wrote that in 2017, 2018, there weren't a lot of new mom stories.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, well, what would she do? And I also kind of wanted to like capture, motherhood is scary. It's hard.
It is, yeah.
And I wanted to write about it to sort of understand it better, I think.
That's unbelievable. I love that. I haven't known that about you before, that you brought in those true pieces of who you are into the characters.
I love to do that. I love it as a reader. Like when you read something and you're like, are they from there? Or is that maybe their background? Because you can kind of
feel it.
You really can. And of course, we make things up. But that sort of trueness of like walking those neighborhoods, and I put real streets in, I put real restaurants in. In my debut, there's a lot of Jamestown, Newport. Because it's fun. I was like, I love Rhode Island. I'm going to put real places
Feature
in there.
it.
As long as nothing too nefarious happens. Like, I think it's good,
a murder, a mansion.
There might be one or two of those.
I feel like that is like, but it brings people in. It's always fun to read no matter where you're from. But if you're from this area or you're interested in this area, I think it's really cool to do that because it does kind of like help connect you a little bit to the story. And I love that for our local areas, but I also love reading books that are set in places that I'm less familiar with because I feel like I get a chance to learn a little bit about it, explore it. So I think that's such a great thing to do when you're writing.
It's fun. And also you can do Google rabbit holes. Where
that's
true, right? You can just like,
Very
I want to
true.
know everything about this. Like Blood Sisters, my most recent book, it opens and closes here. And there's a little bit of Rhode Island there. But most of it is in northeastern Oklahoma, which no one knows anything about northeastern Oklahoma. But I put as much real history and place. And I've had so many people say, I must have Googled for an hour.
Wow.
Because the setting, it's in a mining community. And so the landscape almost looks like the surface of the moon.
Right.
It's a really unique looking place. And so you can Google it and sort of see where the characters are. The history is real. So I don't know. As a reader, I love that. And so what I love as a reader often is what I do as a writer.
Absolutely.
And now, are you surprised at all? Because you started writing, and it sounds like you wrote a little bit before your first book kind of took off. But since then, you've really had some pretty great success quickly. Have you been surprised by that, or no, because you've been working so diligently?
You put it over your 15,000 hours.
Yeah, I did. I clocked that. I mean, it's funny. My publishing, even once you're published, is still kind of a wild ride, and there's still ups and downs. My first two books came out, and they did pretty well, but I didn't get a second contract with that publisher.
Okay.
I actually ended up leaving my agent.
Wow.
So after working for 13 years for a goal, it sort of felt like I was back at square one.
Wow.
And that's a very normal refrain in publishing. I have so many friends who kind of go through, and it's just it's a business.
It's a business.
It's a business, and even though we are being creative and it is our art, way, at the end of the day, it is about selling books.
Yeah.
And so I just, so for me, I sort of felt like I had to realign some things. I got a new contract, thank God. Found a new publisher. So, the success is exciting, but you always sort of think, well, who knows what's next?
Yeah.
I mean, you just sort of have to be realistic about it. And I to this, every day that someone is excited to read something that I wrote, I mean, it overwhelms me still. I mean, really does. I just sort of can't believe it because reading is such a gift. I mean, as a reader, nothing means more than reading a book that I love. It's a gift.
It is a gift.
And so the idea that I could even, a little bit entertain someone for a few hours or, if they love it or connect with it, it's such a privilege to do this. And so you roll with the punches. And you just kind of keep writing and write things that I hope people will kind of connect with because they're important to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it is the resilience piece because, whether you're at a stage in life where you want to pivot and do something different, if you aren't an author, you're somebody that's watching now, you're like, well, I don't write, but I kind of can relate to what you're saying because maybe I'm shifting careers or I want to take a different path in my life or, whatever it might be. It's the resilience piece that keeps you going.
Yeah.
And that's what it seems like it did for you.
100%. And I think if you love it, it's a little cliche, but if you love it, it isn't necessarily work. I mean, it is. It's still like, I still have to like get up and do it and doubt myself and those things. But like, if you love it, you have that feeling of, this is what I want to be doing. So even though, maybe it's not the smoothest road, but stay on the road.
Right.
Just keep moving towards your goals. And then the other thing I kind of learned was like, it's not really just when your book is published, right? It's actually, connecting with readers. It's having a good writing day. It's a journey.
I was going to say, you have done a really great job with like incorporating social media, connecting with your readers and other writers to kind of help bolster each other and build, your brand and your following. And I just love that you do that. And as somebody who, I do the same when I see somebody I like and I start following them when they're engaging with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is a real person. Like it makes me like them even that much more. And I think you've been so smart about what you've done with social. And I know you do the Instagram lives with other authors and things like that. Did you just want to do that and connect with people?
So being an author is hard, right? And you have a lot of days that are like, ugh. But if you're celebrating your friends' victories, you can be celebrating almost every single day. I have an Instagram Live tonight. I have 2 authors on. One is a debut author, which is like, it's like a wedding. It's so special.
Right.
And the other is a good friend of mine who I co-author a series with. She has a new book out. And, maybe I'll have a tough writing day today, but I know at the end of today, I get to
going to be a good day for you.
I'm going to have a great day.
Yeah.
Well, this is fun. But also I'm like going to celebrate their books being out. And so I think I'm also nosy, which maybe
I love it.
We love you.
I love it.
So I want to know everything.
Relatable.
Right? I want to know everything about their books.
Yes.
And I want to know about their writing process, and I can ask the questions I want to ask.
Yeah.
I think you guys probably relate to that too. And you can celebrate. And
Yeah.
it's so much fun to just like make sure they're taking a moment too and like cheering for them, because we're always on to the next thing.
Totally. And you brought some books too, because one of them you have an event this summer you were talking about, right?
I have 2. I'm so excited. One of them, this is a memoir. So Nothing More of This Land. And so Joseph Lee, he's a Wampanoag man who grew up on Martha's Vineyard and wrote a memoir about it.
Oh, wow.
And so we're going to be at Riff Raff Books together. I'm going to talk to him about this gorgeous
That sounds
memoir.
great.
Oh, it's wonderful. On July 22nd.
Okay.
So come hang. Riff Raff is so cool around
Oh,
the
it's the
West
best,
Side.
best.
That like bar.
Yes.
Like, it's exactly what you think a bookstore
Very cool.
should be.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very cool.
yes.
I love it. And then in August 18th, we're going to have a very roady thriller event with Wakefield Books.
Yes.
So
Pretty great.
it's going to be so much fun. So Justin Maxwell, who has written a couple bestseller books, she has a new one out. And I think the setting is loosely based on Jamestown.
Ooh, fun.
Oh, see?
Right? And then the other is a debut author, Kristen Olive. And so she has a new book, The Homecoming, and that's based on Block Island.
Oh, I love it.
So it's going to be so thriller, so roady.
I feel like Rhode Island is like
perfect.
so cool right now.
I mean,
Like it's kind of like finally starting to get like the praise that it deserves. It's been so like kind of under the radar for so long. And now I feel like all of a sudden you're seeing Block Island things pop up in books.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
And it really is. And I have to say, Vanessa did something that we're going to start now every time we have an
What?
author on, okay? So you brought a book that you said was a great rom-com read.
Yes.
And I think we should ask authors, like, what's a book that you would love to recommend that you didn't
or,
write?
Yeah, like what
Maybe
are you reading right now? Or like one that's stuck
and I
with
forget the
you?
name of it because I want to write it down
I'm
because
so
I love a
excited.
good
It comes
rom-com.
out in July. Love is a war song. So this is first of all, it's a great book. It's a rom-com. But what's really important about it is Danica Nava is the only Indigenous romance author published right now.
Oh my goodness.
She's it. Of the big 5.
Yeah.
So it's really important that we let publishers know, right, with our buying power, that we want these voices.
Yeah.
And that Indigenous doesn't just have to be, I'm Cherokee,
Yeah.
that's in my books, but Indigenous doesn't just have to be, maybe a very intense emotional memoir. It can be a fun, playful, romantic, sexy story.
Yes.
So this will be out in July, and her first book, her debut, was called The Truth According to Ember, and that's already out. So you can grab that.
By
the time you're done with that by the pool, you'll be ready for this.
I'm excited for this one. This
sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, again, I love a good rom-com.
I was going to say, this does seem right up your alley.
Very much up my alley. And then I love hearing like just other authors that I love and respect really celebrate other authors. So I love that I want to do this when we have authors. I want them to bring in,
a good idea.
Celebrate somebody else.
Yeah.
I love that about you.
And I I know their TBR is out of control like mine.
Oh
So
my
they should
God.
have a lot of
I have a list on my phone, and I'm like, will I ever get to any of these? Like, slow going. But I'm like, there's just so much that I want to read, and especially
It is
in
a
the
lot.
summer when you just want
I
to
know.
like.
We're in the season.
We are in the season.
I should shout out to and if you can, support our local bookstores.
I
Yes.
know how involved you are with our local bookstores, and I love that. And we really do have a great network around here and our local libraries. And I know you work
Yes.
closely with all of them.
I love our libraries too. It's so important. I mean, I grew up in a library.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
so many of us. It was
Yeah.
huge. And for bookstores too, I mean, we really do have a lot for as small a state as we are, and a lot of them they're all small businesses.
Yeah.
A lot of them are women owned, like Inkfish Books, for
Yeah, I
example,
love
in
Inkfish.
beautiful Warren. Like,
Yeah, I love Inkfish.
Have a Warren day. Who
I
doesn't
love
want
a
great
Warren
idea.
day,
It's a
by
great
the way.
idea,
There's
right.
so much in Warren.
So
Eat,
much.
shop.
No, that's a great idea. And I do love that you really do give such like praise and support for just local, because you're right, they're small businesses and they're giving you, like you said, I love before, the gift of being able to listen. Someone's life could be at its highest or its lowest, but when they pick up a book, they escape it and they can be somewhere else for that moment. And you're able to give them that gift to just fall into a story. It really is like a beautiful thing. I feel like we could talk to Vanessa for
I know.
a whole hour show.
I know, and because we have, she has a new book coming out in October too.
we'll
so
be
we'll
having
have
you
to have
back.
you back.
I'll be knocking on your
We'll have to
door.
have you
No,
back.
we'll definitely
when
have
it
you
gets
back.
Closer.
I know that one's all set in Rhode Island, so it's
See?
going to be a very
Love the
roady
Rhode Island book.
conversation.
I love
Yeah.
it. We'll have you back for that one.
Thanks so much for being with us, Vanessa.
Congrats, guys. This is really
Thank
cool.
you.
I'm so happy
It was
for
fun.
you.
Thank you. We're
We're
excited to
having
have
fun.
you with us.
I know it's fun having all of our favorite friends that we get to have come in now all the time. So this is awesome. So thanks for being with us, and stick around because we have more coming from Spotlight New England.
Back to Spotlight New England. Audrey, we're finally, fingers crossed.
I know. Be careful. Be
Fingers
careful what we
crossed.
say
Knock
right
on
now.
wood. Fingers crossed. Whatever it is that you need to do, getting some nice weather, which
goodness.
has been just.
And
I
this is
mean,
why
we
we
deserve
live
it.
here, right?
This
We
is
live-
why
we live here
It's
for these
happening.
months.
It's
Yes,
happening.
yes.
But I love that Rhode Island Monthly. They just put out their June issue because it is June now.
It is June.
and it's all about outdoor dining.
It's a great cover, I have to say. They always have the best covers, but that's a great one.
Yeah, they do a wonderful job. All of their photographers and everything. But I just thought it'd be fun to see some of the ones they mentioned.
Okay, what did they mention? What are some
Obviously,
top
we can't do all
ones?
of them, but I don't think they really ranked them.
Oh, they
but
didn't
I
rank
think they
them?
kind of go.
Okay.
But they have some in Newport, like 22 Bone and
Oh, yeah.
Justo. We love Justo.
Love Justo. There's the
Newport
nicest
Vineyards.
people.
Chomp they mentioned, which I wanted to shout out because we were just talking about Warren.
It's a great
which
spot.
I love Warren Water Street and how much they've developed it.
Mm-hmm.
They have Chomp down there now, which is newer. Water Dog is down that way as well.
Yes,
But
I
there's,
love
like,
Water
so much
Dog.
that,
Actually,
wedge-
Revival and Square Peg. Those are our go-tos for like a date
and
night.
there's so many great stores down there now too. So
Oh,
I
it's
just,
fantastic.
Warren shout out. And then of course our favorite. That's not in this, but Blounce.
Oh, yes. We love Blount.
I mean, my summer's not complete until I have a lobster roll from Blounce.
No,
like
that's
my
actually a great
absolute-
outdoor
That is
eating
my
place to
favorite
go.
thing do. They mentioned Dune Brothers.
Dune Brothers is
in
good.
Providence. Frank and Laurie's, which I haven't been
I
to
haven't
yet.
been there either.
I'm dying to
I
get
haven't
to
been
that
there
one
either.
as well. But and then some of your favorites, like George's of Galilee. They did mention Matunic Oyster Bar because it printed before
Yes.
the fire, which I know everyone is
Yes.
anxious and hopeful that they'll be able to come back and rebuild because that is such an iconic.
It's an iconic place,
spot.
absolutely.
Flo's Clam Shack, Ocean House, so so many.
So many.
Is there anywhere you love to go in the summertime?
I do love George's.
Yeah, George's I love.
That's one of my favorites. And, and again, I mean, I know we just said it, but I love Blount.
Yeah.
It's easy. Like we can take the bike. We could take a bike ride over.
Yeah.
There's something about just being right over there on the Narragansett Bay. It's really just kind of calms me down.
I actually truly think they have one of the best lobster rolls ever at Blount's.
It is
Many
delicious.
people have great lobster rolls,
So
but
you're ranking it.
I'm going to
I love
say it's
it.
in my personal top 3. Everybody likes them different. Now, there could be the cold with the mayo or the hot
was
with
just
the
gonna ask
butter.
you, what do
Okay,
you
so
like?
this is controversial. I like hot butter.
Me too.
Yeah,
I do like
okay.
the hot butter, but Matt likes the cold.
Yeah, and a lot of people do. That's just, and I don't hate that. That's just not what
No, I still
would.
like him. I will still be married to
Yeah,
him.
you should. You should stay
I'll
married
allow
to
it.
him.
I'll allow it.
You should
I'll
stay
allow
married.
it.
So, I mean, that could be a whole other show.
But I will say
Lobster
this
rolls.
George is just one of these things. So I had a friend come from out of town looking for an outdoor eatery
Mm-hmm.
place, and he honestly. He texted me yesterday. He was like, I didn't tell you. I ended up booking George. He's from Connecticut. He booked George's of Galilee for a get-together for his family
my
this
God,
weekend.
fun.
He said, we love it. It's so much fun.
such a great spot.
And he said, we had never experienced this kind of on the water.
Yeah.
Like he said, well, we are in Connecticut. We don't have anything like this.
that's interesting.
So at least near him.
Yeah.
And he loved it. And I said,
Yeah.
well, it's one of our favorite spots.
Their food's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They always have great stuff. It's just, and if you want to take a little ride and go down
it's
to
perfect.
Narragansett, it's a whole thing.
It's near,
You can make
yeah.
it into a whole.
Now that the
little
boys are at
afternoon
URI,
trip.
I'm over there more.
Yeah, you are.
Every weekend.
Yeah, you're down there a lot.
Yeah.
Which is
Which I love.
great. You
I
have
love.
to keep us updated on all of your outdoor adventures.
I definitely will this summer. But thanks for joining us today on Spotlight New England, and make sure you tune in tomorrow.